Okay, hopefully you can hear me now. So I go away for a couple of days, and look what happens. All of the audio settings in Windows do their usual number and completely turn me inside out and upside down. So we are live streaming. I've just got back off a flight from Copenhagen back to Heathrow a couple of hours ago. And I thought, what better way to try out Sim Update 4 than to do a night flight, because apparently it has really nice night lighting now, and if you look out across London behind us from Heathrow, it does kind of look that way, doesn't it? We've got streetlights stretched out to the horizon, which is apparently part of the update. So we're going to jump inside the aeroplane very briefly, and if I can press the right buttons, that is. Oh my word, I'm rusty. So let's just make sure the controls seem to be behaving, although those are set in correctly. So let's just try this. Yep, that's working. And that's on the climb descent. So I've updated the A340, if you're wondering. So let's get some power on anyway. So we're going to go and look overhead, and we're going to go and turn the batteries on at least, and turn the external power on, and we'll go and put the dome lighting to bright, which will allow us to see the aircraft booting up. So the A340-300 was updated a few days ago, so this is looking really nice, isn't it? With the boot up sequence around the screens, we should see things kind of happening around us, which will be really nice. Yeah, look at that. How cool is that, seeing the systems booting up? Okay, so we're going to go and check the external light section, which is just here at the bottom left of the overhead section, and we're going to check strobe is on auto, and it is. Nav and logo should go to 1 or 2. We'll set it to 2. Not sure how much difference that makes. You'd have to go and read the book for the real aircraft. APU section, we're going to go and put the APU master switch to on, and we're going to start the APU. Okay, we can go and turn the crew air supply on, and then we can go and arm the emergency exit lights, which are just over here. So we'll roll those to armed, and then put the no smoking sign to auto, and we'll leave the seatbelt sign for the moment, because we've not actually got any people on board yet. So just to explain to you, I'm working through a checklist. I put a link in the notes, a written checklist that takes you out through everything you need to do in the A340. So Lord Vader is asking in the live stream comments, am I on VATSIM? No, I'm not. So this is my first flight back after being on holiday for a few days. I'm not even going to be running Say Intentions this evening. This is going to be a straightforward flight to have a look at the aeroplane. No distractions, and we'll just go fly. And fly between two big airports. We're going to be more interested, to be honest, in going to the outside views and having a look at the city as we climb out, for example. So yes, we are off to Copenhagen to land at Kastrup, where I flew back from earlier today in the real world. So let's go and have a look. So we've done the emergency exit lights, so we need to go further overhead, and you can see here's the three ADIRS systems. So this is air data inertial reference system. So this is how the airplane knows which way up it is, which way it's pointing, and which direction it's accelerating in. So then shift and space will bring us back down to the cockpit, and we can go and set the brightnesses of the PFDs. I think they're all looking fine, lovely and bright. We might actually turn them down a bit for approach into Kastrup a bit later on. Okay, so we're going to go and program our flight plan. I've already done this in Simbrief. So if we go and press Shift and 5, we come over to the tablet, and we can go into My Flight. And we should be able to say Import from Simbrief. And we go Heathrow to Kastrup. Okay, so that's all looking absolutely fine. Then we go back out of here and we go to the Payload and Fueling app. And in here we need to say import all from Simbrief, and that will tell us how much fuel we need, what payload we've got on board, and so on and so forth. And then we say instant load to save ourselves a whole load of time. Okay, so then we're going to go back to the Takeoff Performance app. So we come back to the center of here, and we go to Takeoff performance. We click on Sync FMGS, which gets us the numbers from the fuel we've just put in. Then we say Sync WX, which gets us the weather data on the local METAR readout. And then we say Calculate, and it works out the V-speeds and everything else. It takes a few seconds to do that, and there it goes. So we can then send all of that to the FMGS, which is the flight data computer. So there we go, it's just done it. So that saves us some time later on. Okay, so then we go over to the MCDU and we press the clear button to get rid of any messages out of here. I think I might have it set to faster line on the ADIAS system. We'll find out in a moment. So we're going to go into init to set our flight up, so it's waiting for the system to respond. Then we can do an init request, which will load from Simbrief. And here comes the flight details. Check database cycle. It's not happy about the database. Okay, I kind of anticipated this might happen. So I've updated the airplane. I've not done the update from Navigraph. So we'll see what happens. So having done that, we're going to go... We could do things in several different orders, actually. We're going to wind first. And see, yeah, it's pulled the wind in for us. So we got a company message received as well, actually. That's interesting. Is that new? Can we do... Let's clear this out. If we go to the MCD... Okay, how do we get to the messages? Message record. This is new. So can we print the message? What's that going to do? Have they put a working printer in the aeroplane for us? No. Where's it going to come out? I think in the real one it would. There would be a printer over here. Anyway, we'll carry on. Message record, reports, text. Let's go and have a look and see what's in. I think a lot of this is new. Oh my word. Very cool. Anyway, let's go and get on with looking at our flight plan. So we've got EGLL to Brookmans Park. We haven't put the departure in yet, so we go and select EGLL, go to departure, and we'll go and have a look at our Simbrief flight plan. We are taking off the BPK 7 Golf departure out towards the BPK waypoint, and we're going from runway 27 left. So 27 left, BPK 7 Golf, and insert that straight in. And then if we scroll down through, that should join straight on. So there's the start of the flight plan. Then it starts going via lots of waypoints on the different airways, and eventually it ends up at Kastrup. So this is where I think we may get the difference. I think there was an update in the Navigraph data or the AirAC data. So we want to come in on, you can see it says here, look, notice star or fix Tuddle 3C. I think it's got 4 Charlie now instead of 3 Charlie. So 22 left and the Tuddle 4 Charlie. So we've got ILS right there. ILS 22 left. And the Tuddle 3... Oh, it's saying Tuddle 3 Charlie. That's because it's the old data. So the new one that Navigraph would have, so the aeroplane has what we want and it's close enough. We'll insert that and we'll have a look. So we should, if we scroll backwards, yeah, there's a slight discontinuity there. There's a manual after you go past Abegi. If I show you what that actually means, if we come out here, we get to Abegi and then we are manual to turn vectors to get onto the approach for Kastrup. But that's absolutely fine. So we'll leave that discontinuity in there. Unless there is, so it's saying X star. That's interesting. So it's got this X star waypoint, but we're going to go manual after that anyway. So yeah, we'll leave the discontinuity in the flight plan. It won't hurt anything. Press flight plan to come back up to the top. We haven't done the data yet, so let's go into init, go sideways, go and set block fuel to whatever we've got. It will calculate it itself, and then we can go 0 fuel, and that will calculate that as well. All the numbers fill in. We go in performance page, we get our numbers for takeoff, and we can just say confirm takeoff data. and that fills everything in that came from the tablet. Okay, so we can clear any messages out. That's all done. So we're pretty much done with the flight plan for the moment. Okay, so I'm just scrolling through my checklist. Just for the interest of those that have never seen these checklists, if I go to drive.google.com and I search for A340, and you can see here it is. This is what I'm working through. And it's basically, once you get, I'm going through this, look, so program flight plan with Simbrief, and it's got the step-by-step of everything to do. And then afterwards continue, and this is what I'm going to be doing next. So I'm following this so I don't forget steps, because I'm not a genius and I fly lots of different airplanes. So I need this. So do we have a backup attitude indicator? Yes, we do. So we pull the plunger and we align the backup attitude indicator. We set the QNH on the altimeters by pressing comma to shortcut, and you can see that happening all around the airplane. Then we go to the FGCP, or Flight Guidance Control Panel. So this is this big panel up here, which controls the autopilot, and we're going to go and turn the flight directors on. And then that's interesting, we've got a light outside that's reflecting off the screens. It's really distracting. Anyway, we configure the navigation modes we want. So we know we've got speed and heading, and because we haven't got clearance today, we're not using say intentions for this flight, we can just go and set this straight to our target altitude, and it will do it for us. So let's go and have a look. We're back in here, aren't we, looking at the briefing. 37,000 feet. So if you've ever wondered how these numbers get picked, quite apart from the airline obviously having approved routes they'll send you on, if you're going east, it's usually an odd number. If you're going west, it's usually an even number. So that gives you automatic separation in terms of altitude. And there's a mnemonic to go with it. So east is odd, west is even odder. So I know it sounds bizarre, but it's just an easy little rhyme to remember. Okay, so we've done that. Flight directors are on, altitude is set. We're going to be using managed mode, which is the default. So that means it's going to be flying the flight plan. You can see we have a solid line on the navigation display. We have an attitude indicator. That means the ADIAS system is aligned and working. And the solid line means we have a fully configured flight plan that the airplane can follow. And that we have a dot alongside altitude means it has a VNAV profile. You can see we have speeds and altitudes all the way out that it will follow. If we stay in VNAV or managed mode, so we press the top half of the buttons to go managed, we click the bottom half to pull them towards us for selected mode. So in terms of altitude, that will do an open climb if we pull the knob towards us. If we push it towards the aeroplane, it will follow the speeds and the altitudes that are programmed. Okay, I'll stop explaining everything now. Just get on with it. One will take us overhead. So let's just do this with the mouse so we can see where things are. We've got the seatbelt signs here. We're going to go and put them to auto. Or we could go to on at this point. So, and then the electric section, external power can come off. Obviously the APU's been running for quite some time, so take it off here and here. And we are ready to do pushback. So before we push back, we need to go over to the tablet, go to the ground equipment and remove the GPU. The chocks have already been taken away by the look of it. And we can actually initiate pushback from here. So let's go and have a look at where we are. So we'll pull up the map of London Heathrow. So we're way over here. So we want to back away, tail to the right, okay, from Terminal 5. So we'll initially tell it to go backwards. And if we look outside, if I can move the... Whoa, what's going on with this? We should see the tractor is lining up on the aeroplane. So back inside the aeroplane, we need to go and release the parking brake. which I'm going to do with my physical controls, but you saw what happened there. While we're waiting for everything, we can go and arm the ground spoilers. We don't have any engine power yet, actually, so we'll wait. Because obviously hydraulics come online with the engines. So let's just make sure my brakes are off. They are now. I don't know, I go away for a few days and all the switches on my controls have all been moved by somebody. So we said we wanted the tail to go right, didn't we? And it's going the wrong way, look. So we're going to correct it. So Flight Sim got it wrong. Make sure there's nothing behind us. Oh, that was a close one. So we're just pulling away from Terminal 5. And let's go and stop that pushback. And put the parking brake back on. And we're good for engine start. So overhead we are going to go and switch the beacon light on. Put the fuel pumps on. Then we're going to put the APU bleed on. So this is venting the air from the auxiliary power unit, which is a small gas turbine, so we can spin the engines up. And then we are going to rotate the ignition to start, which I will do with my physical controls. And then I'm going to do these, and I'm going to read my notes. Okay, so 1 and 2, we can do them in banks. 1 and 2 can go to forwards. Actually, no, 1 and 2 first is the common way it's done these days. So you will see them light up here with the N2 number spinning up. And we'll hopefully hear them. Although we are quite a long way from them in the A340. So they get to about 55–60%. And then those lights will go out, and that means they're up and running, and it will say avail on the N1 graphs, meaning they are available to use. So you can see the exhaust gas temperature is rising as fuel is pumped in. There's our fuel on block number. Or on board. Some people call it fuel on block, some people call it fuel on board. We'll have a play with this company message feature a bit later to see how that works. So avail is showing, so we can now go and start the others. Same trick again. So start them as 2 banks. As soon as they've fired up and are available, we'll switch the ignition back to norm. While that's happening, let's go and have a look at this then, see if we can figure out this new functionality. So it would normally be in here. Oh, Atsu, there it is. AOC and received messages. I don't know why I didn't see that. Oh, they're confirming the load sheets. This is normal Airbus operating system procedures. So notice load sheet goes smaller. I'll need to put this into my notes for the aeroplane. They've basically brought this up to date and made it much more accurate. So having accepted the load sheets, you'll see the message has disappeared off the ECAM screen. Okay, let's go and make sure that we've got TCAS ready. We're going to put this to auto. This is already on, so transponder's operating. Obviously we're not using ATC today. Okay, engines are available. So ignition can go back to norm, so that was the switch down here. And we go and put the predictive wind shear to auto. We can go and put the flaps to takeoff position. Now let's just double confirm that. So let's have a look over here, look on the takeoff performance, and it's saying flaps 1. Okay. We'll also have a look here at the trim. So it's saying 5 up here. but we haven't looked at this to see what it says. 4.9 up. Okay, so that's close enough. Okay, so if anything, it should be about there. So we're looking at that gauge in relation to the triangle. So all that means is when you get to rotation speed on the runway, the aeroplane will be in equilibrium, so it won't dive around. Let's put that back on the flight plan page. Okay, and we're just looking over here now. So APU bleed is still on. We can go and shut the APU bleed off. And we don't actually need the APU anymore because the engines are running. Okay, so ground spoilers are armed. This is informational. This side is things to deal with. APU is still available at the moment. TCAS is on standby. Parking brake is on. So let's get the taxi lights on. And we can go and run out to the runway. So at this point, let's go and refresh our memory. We're pointing the right direction. So we're going to go, we're going 27 left, aren't we, for departure? Let's just double check that. 27 left. So we're going to taxi out and all the way along either Bravo or Alpha. Let's turn the head tracking on. So this is the first time I've seen Sim Update 4 at all. Just gently open the engines to get ourselves rolling. Does look nice and smooth, doesn't it? And the night lighting is lovely. Should we have a look from outside? Look at that city laid out around us. That's awesome, isn't it? Twinkly night lights everywhere. And you can see the traffic coming in on approach, look, on the other runway. It's going the wrong way, but... oh dear. The traffic in the sim is always a bit random with the direction it's operating in. Actually, no, it's not going the wrong way, is it? I'm casting aspersions there because we're going to taxi to the far end of this runway. We are at the 09 end of the runway. We're going to be taxiing down to 27. So I'm going to stay on the outside view so we get to be nosy and have a good look at the airports as well. There's somebody else taxiing just ahead of us, look. Did they just do a go around? I thought they were on approach. It's an A380, wasn't it? Okay, let's move this view slightly. So this feels really odd. Oh, someone's asking about my sim settings in the live stream comments. This is all running on defaults. I've got a bit of a beast of a PC that was bought for 2024 specifically, and it hasn't got a 5 series NVIDIA card, it's got a 4090. But I've got 64 gig of fast RAM, I've got a fibre to the house internet connection, and fairly quick routers in the house, so, and a stonking CPU along with the NVIDIA 4090. So there's good reason why it's smooth. Let's see if we can get past this guy if we just taxi around him. Not that it's normally a race. We're having to be a bit careful here because the Airbus has built-in protections for going rally crossing like this. Especially the A340, which is an absolute monster and it weighs several hundred tons empty. So stressing the undercarriage decks like this is never a good idea. Obviously you don't get to do this if you've got air traffic control services switched on. So I'm running without say intentions this evening, so we're taking all sorts of liberties. Those night lights look amazing across the city, don't they? So this is going to look wonderful when we take off. Okay, let's go and turn ourselves out onto the runway. I think we might have to wait for this guy first. There's two of them queuing up. Let's go and jump inside. We won't put our landing lights and strobes on just yet because we don't want to blind him. So we're going next, regardless of what the other guy thinks he's doing. Okay, parking brake on for the moment. Landing lights on. Nose lights to take off. We are lighting the place up now. Should we have a look outside, see what that looks like. Bright. That's what that looks like. Okay, so we have done everything except the takeoff check. Oh, auto brake needs to go to max. Done. Takeoff config test needs to be done. Signs on the cabin check. So if we do the takeoff done, so everything's green. Ease the throttles all the way forwards. Keep an eye on the indicated airspeed for the rotation speed to come through.
V1.
It didn't rotate. It didn't ask for rotate, did it? Maybe it's configurable. So gear up. And Autopilot on. Just give it a moment. Whoa! The gear is retracting. Back to climb descent on the throttles. The initial climb is very steep. So then we're waiting to come up towards the flap limit speed. Look at that city. So flaps come up. That's incredible, isn't it? They have made a huge difference. I'm trying to sit as tall as I can to see over the edge of the cockpit. So we're on managed mode, obviously, on the climb out, so we will be following the various constraints. We've got them switched on, so we're not allowed above 4,000 feet. Yeah, 4,000. Oh, it's going straight through it, though. That's interesting. Oh, it's above. Yes, the constraint is above 4,000 at the point we get there. So it's carrying on through. Let's go and put TCAS on. So TAR8. It's on auto mode, so that should show up on here now. Yep, so it's not saying TA only or anything like that. And we can start increasing the range in a moment. So I would just like to admire the views of the city for a little while. So this light, by the way, on the nose gear can go to off if I can get the mouse on it with head tracking, which is always tricky. But that looks incredible, doesn't it? Shall we look from outside so we can see around the aeroplane? Wow! Just wow! And there's London. Look at the streams of traffic and street lights. Look at that. That's incredible. They really have improved this enormously, haven't they? So we're going to be flying out right over the top of London. Just by, you know, happenstance really, that's the way the standard instrument departure goes. So let's go back inside. Look at that. Incredible. This is live weather, by the way. Okay, so we are going to head off now. I'm just looking at the, let's get the distance up, it will see the constraints. So 6,000 feet at Brookman's Park, and then we'll be able to climb further. So we're still on the SID at the moment, the standard instrument departure. It's because we're at 6,000 feet though, the QNH is flashing. So we can go to standard barometric pressure now on both sides of the aeroplane, because 6,000 is the transition altitude here. So if we initiate open climb at this point, let's pretend ATC have given us clearance. We'll just go open climb. So nose comes up, look, throttles come up. So it's commanded full throttle basically immediately. Throttles are on the climb detent, flaps are up, gear is up. We don't need the ground spoilers anymore, obviously. So let's go and have a look at that from outside. I just want to get a higher altitude view of the city. So, do I have an opinion on the Airbus A340 from Inibuilds versus the PMDG Boeings? Oh, it's a difficult one, isn't it? Because there's almost a religious debate between the Airbus guys and the Boeing guys, whereas I don't really favour either. They're both great. I think Inibuilds have done a fantastic job with the various Airbuses they've worked on, along with obviously Phoenix and some of the others. And PMDG have done a fantastic job on the Boeings that they've worked on. It's going to be wonderful to see the 747 family arrive in Flight Simulator 2024 at some point. Obviously, I think the 737s are next, aren't they, in the very near future. It's a bit stuttery now and again when, okay, I'm really thrashing it with looking around quickly. So it's having to, yeah, look, it's done it again, look. Stalled the sim for a second. I am really killing it, making it look all over the place. But look at the draw distance on the night lights. It's probably 50 miles to 100 miles out. Okay, the airplane is climbing. We're coming up through 12,500 feet and we're off towards Copenhagen. We'll be leaving London behind fairly soon. We're doing an open climb. You can see it says OP climb over here on the primary flight display. So we did that a little bit early on purpose just to get a nice view of the city. But you can see we're coming up through the cloud. Seatbelt sign's still on. Some other air traffic around us. There's a few stutters now and again, isn't there? Now I don't know if that's something I've got installed that's causing that or not. So is that Stansted down there? Let's go and have a look on the map, shall we? So close diagram. We are right here at the moment. Yeah, that's Stansted that we can see to our left. Or we could see, there it is. Should we move ourselves a little bit forwards in the cockpit, or a little bit low? I'm quite tall as well, so I'm probably taller than her. That looks incredible though, doesn't it? The night lighting is so good now. So we can play games with the dome lights as well. Should we change her screen as well? Very cool. Okay, we came up through 10,000 feet quite some time ago. I've still got the landing lights on, haven't I? Let's turn them off. Like I said, we're not flying with ATC this evening, so actually I'm going to go and put the lights back on inside just so you get a view of what's going on. There we go. Let me just move the view around a little for you so you can see the coast. And if we go and zoom out here, we can see our route as we fly off towards Copenhagen. So we're going to be in the cruise for quite some time. If we go and have a look on the flight management computer, we can see the estimated time into Copenhagen, 2250 hours. So at the moment it's 21:35. So we've got about an hour and 20 minutes. Hey, should we let everybody get up and walk around? Let's go and turn the seatbelt signs to off. That's all done. And we're on our way. Okay. So there's nothing more for me to do until we're on approach, really. So I'm going to go make a coffee. I'm going to leave the screens on. I'll increase the range out on the navigation display, so you have some idea of where we are. Let's take it to 300 miles. There we go, look. So you've got the route all the way through. We're going to hit top of climb just after Redfut. And then I doubt we'll be descending until quite a long way further down route. So here we're looking from outside. Whoa, look at that. There's London in the background. And our A340 in the foreground, very dimly lit. Just see the cabin crew, because we've got the lights on in the cabin, remember. Very cool. So the strobe's blinking away, the nav light's blinking away. If we look underneath, we should see, yep, there we go. More lights. And if we look overhead, you'll see all those stars. Oh, but if you zoom out, then the stars lose their brightness. Oh, okay, I think there's some high altitude cloud around, so you can see stars this side. So, winter sky, what are we looking for? Trying to get my bearings. That's interesting. So the stars only really render under certain circumstances. So there's the Milky Way. Which makes it really difficult actually to see the stars. Okay, you have to change the zoom, and then as you move the camera it renders the stars back in. I'm just looking for the Pleiades. They're usually my go-to. Oh, there they are, directly overhead, because of course it's winter. So there's the Pleiades. That's going to be the middle of Taurus there then. So if you go further this way you should find, if you change the zoom level, there's Orion. Yeah, there's Orion's belt, there's Orion there, there's the Orion Nebula. If we zoom in, I wonder if they've done anything with that. No. But yeah, so the general way you do this, you find Orion, which is dead easy to find in a winter sky in Europe. And then you go across and you find that V shape, and that's part of Taurus the Bull, which goes down to here to its horns. And then you go further across and then you've got the Pleiades, which are really pretty. Cluster of stars. Anyway. Wow, look at all the light pollution in the distance across Europe. Very cool. Right, I'm going to go take a break. I'm going to leave this going on the flight deck. Should we turn the brightness down on some of these controls there, hey? So we want the various screens to be dimmed right down so they're not flickering at all or burning our eyeballs out with their brightness. There we go, that's a bit better, isn't it? The main screen here is still tremendously bright, so we can dim that back down as well. Having said that, the actual indicator lights are still incredibly bright. Anyway, we could dim down the overhead lights, so at the moment we've got it on Storm. Let's put it back on, and bright doesn't do anything though. Dim is rubbish as well. Okay, let's put it back on Storm for the moment, just for the purposes of the video, to make it a little bit better for you, so you can actually see what's going on. And we'll move the camera around, and so you get something in shot while I go and have a coffee. So we're going to be cruising for maybe 40 minutes or so until we get to top of descent. And then I'll be back in the cockpit with you. To make that easy to see where we are, and easy for me to see at a glance where we are, I'm going to pull LittleNavMap up, and I'm going to open the window layout to minimal, which I've already got saved. And if I go in here, and I can never remember how to do this from without the dialogues. Yeah, so it's not following the aircraft, which is good. So we can make this small. We can leave this in the corner of the screen up here, and we can go in here and go to the taskbar settings and go to behaviors and automatically hide it. There we go, and I'll leave the mouse on top of that. So you can see our little yellow aeroplane is departing just over the coast of the UK and is heading off towards the Netherlands. And then we fly into Danish airspace a little bit later on. I'm going to go across the top corner of Germany as well by the look of it. Okay, I'll be back a bit later on. Okay, we're back. So let's find out where we are. Let's put LittleNavMap back in its normal mode. Open window layout to default. We are getting near to top of descent. I've got the performance calculations here for a 747, which isn't so different than an A340. So let's go and have a look on the flight management computer, and we can see top of descent is coming at AMRAC. If we go and reduce the range, we'll see that a bit more closely, so that we can see AMRAC. We have got the constraints switched on, but we can go and refresh our memory before we get there and go and have a look at Navigraph. So AMRAC is where we're going to begin our descent by the look of it, and we go and open the chart here to see if we've got any constraints on the way in. So max 250 knots at Corsa, then we're coming down to about flight level 120 at this particular waypoint, and then we're joining another route that comes in this way, and then below 5,000 feet, below 4,000 feet, and then still at below 4,000 feet. Oh, actually, yeah, so we're turning in. Look, these are two alternate routes in, and here's the actual approach. So if we go and pull up the approach chart to show that alongside it. So by the time you are vectored around, remember we've got a discontinuity at Abegi. So we'll then turn right to an intercept course for the ILS. We'll be looking to come in X-star, so max 220 knots, and then we come in, and what altitude do we need to be? 2,000 feet. 2,500 at 610. Okay, so that's the beginning here. So we'll come in at 2,500 feet at 610, and that is 10 miles out. So normally you'd be looking for 8 miles out for that, so that's why there's this bit of a step descent going on. We've got a 3-degree glide slope, so it's normal. Should be good. So we need to go and program some performance data into the airplane. So company message received. So let's go and play with the new functionality there. So we go to ATSU at the bottom left, and then we go to AOC, and then received messages, and we can see we got an ADC message. So ADC delay 14 minutes, report reason for ADC delay. Interesting. So can we do that here? No, we can't. So we'll clear that out. So if we go and look, have they programmed it into this? Do we get the ADC messages in here? Oh, maybe they don't. It would be normally this page on some of the other airplanes. So we've got operational flight plan, failures. Oh, here we go. So have we got the... No, that's not bird strikes. It's basically, it's usually telling them about delays to our route. But I don't know how fully featured this is. So delay code. Okay, so do we have any delay codes on here that we can look up that the aeroplane will understand? Failures and situations? No, we were just looking at that, weren't we? Interesting. Have they really not given us any to play with? So we said 14 minutes, didn't we? So we're going to put in 01 because we don't know what the code is. Entry out of range. Interesting. What about 10? We don't know what this is going to do. So yeah, 14 minutes for the time delay. Send. Let's see what happens. This is going to be interesting, isn't it? Received messages. Nothing yet. So we'll see if this comes up with another company message received. So we just picked a number out of a hat there to see what will happen with it. Oh, it's in the settings cog apparently. So Audio call out, third party configuration settings. Yeah, it hasn't got the codes listed though, has it? Something to look up for next time. Company message received. Here we go. Received messages. Telex. ADC delay reason accepted. No further action required. That was lucky, wasn't it? I wonder if it accepts any code. So we're back on the flight plan page and we're about to begin descent in a little while. So let's go and reduce the range down again to 80 miles. So, looking at the chart coming in, so we're just out here at the moment. We've got max 250 knots. We could do all this on managed mode and then admire the view on the way into Copenhagen. Above 120, so we could say flight 120 just for our initial altitude target. And let the airplane get us down to that and get us to 250 knots. And then we can go and set 5,000, 4,000 and then take vectors in and come in for the landing. Be worth double checking actually. Let's go and look at the ILS frequency. So 109.5, 217 degrees. So if we go down to the FMC, it's saying check desk data, which is what we would expect to be doing. I'll do that in a moment. We're just going to go to the radio navigation page. 109.5, 216 is 1 degree different. That makes no difference. Okay, so we're going to go to the performance page and then go next and next, and we should be able to put in the destination data. So let's go do that. Pull up information for Kastrup and open the airport and go to the weather page, and we can put 1012 in as the QNH at the airfield. The local air temperature at Kastrup is 9 degrees centigrade. Magnitude of wind is 230 degrees 13 knots. So 230/13. And drop that into wind. Transition altitude at Kastrup. Well, let's double check that. It's 5,000 feet, which is correct in here. We can set the baro or the radio limits for the approach. So this is on ILS obviously. So straight in landing, we've got decision altitude 200 feet radio or 510 feet barometric pressure. So we can go 208, or sorry, just using the localizer without a glide slope is 510, I should say. So, but if you've got all your kit, which we have, 208. So we can go 208 on radio. And we're going to use full flaps. That's all correct. And there's the go-around data, which we won't be needing that. And we're getting near to top of descent look at AMRAC. So let's go and dial in how far we need to get down initially. So we want to initially get to at least 120. But you'll see that on the constraints programmed in. If we go and scroll down through, you'll see it here. Look, there's asterisks. There's the 250 knots. And there's the altitude constraint. So let's try it. Let's go straight for 3,000 feet and see if it obeys properly on the way down. So we're going to go and push this towards the aeroplane. Descend to 3,000. So you can see we're going below the descent profile, but only at 1,000 feet a minute, because we descended a little bit early. So this will catch back up with us. And here it comes. So that didn't take long, did it? So it's only coming down 700 feet a minute at the moment. It's winding the engines down as we go. So you'll see the N1 numbers drop off a cliff in a moment as it goes to idle. Just as about now. Watch. Is it going to do it? It depends on drag, of course, so it's going to try and get down to 250 knots as well along the way. It's just doing a turn at AMRAC. It's holding 50% on the engines. That's interesting. It's still coming down 3,000 feet a minute. Maybe it's not as smooth and slippery through the air as I thought it might be. Whoa, look at that view out of the window. It's incredible. We're going to have a very pretty approach into Kastrup, I think. So Sam Guilford is saying exactly what we're relying upon, which is in managed mode, the Airbus will follow the constraints. So the reason I was checking the charts is just to see what they are. So obviously you can read it on here, but it always pays to go look at the chart as well, just so you understand, you know, what you're dealing with. So we do need to keep in mind our local barometric pressure, so 1012. So when we switch back at 5,000 feet to local barometric pressure on the altimeters, we'll have that number in mind. So let's just have a look. 1012. I'll forget it again. I always do. Okay, it's going to be quite pretty, isn't it? The altitude pollution. Oh, sorry, the altitude. The light pollution in the clouds is amazing. Very, very nice. Should we put this on? Whoa, what have I just done? Autopilot on. I just pressed the wrong key combination. And we've lost the guidance, so we're going to go back to... Oh, we really have lost everything. What did I press? Just keeping it on the airspeed. We've still got the auto throttles working. Why is it not going back to managed mode? Flight directors are off, that's why. And now it's back. There we go, kids. That's why it pays to know how the aeroplane works. So when you press something random while being distracted by something, you know how to get it back again. So it will not guide if the flight directors are not on, because the flight directors are... There's two sides of the equation. Flight directors figure out what direction the airplane needs to go. The autopilot obeys what the flight directors tell the aeroplane to do. So the flight director is usually, you'll see the crosshair here moving around. That's it telling the autopilot, I want to go this way. The autopilot just blindly follows that. So in the Airbus it's quite interesting. When you're using the stick to control the aeroplane, you're not controlling the surfaces. You're kind of acting as the flight director. I didn't slew, I just pressed something odd on the keyboard, and I was going to go and have a look out the window, which requires me to press a key combination to do this, to go and admire all this new night lighting, and I very nearly disabled the aeroplane by accident. I'm sure the co-pilot is not happy with me. I can see the moon. Anybody who's gone outside with a telescope or binoculars will know that looking straight at the moon is like looking at a blowtorch. So that's not very well simulated, really. It should be a very, very bright lump in the sky. Whoa, look at the bridge down there. Very famous bridge, and the name of it escapes me at the moment. So let's find out exactly where we are, and then we can hopefully tell you. Does this give it the name? No, it doesn't. The map is a bit useless, but it's obviously the bridge between Nyborg. And this guy, is it an island that Copenhagen is on? I think it is, isn't it? It's not connected. Yeah, it's actually an island. So can we get terrain to show us the sea beneath us? Yes, we can. Very cool. So this is not descending on the correct pattern, is it, since we pressed that button? So let's do it. Let's go. Yeah, it's way behind where it should be. So I'm going to throw the spoilers out. I've only just noticed we're way behind. I thought we were high. So we need to get within 40 miles down to below flight level 120. That's probably not going to happen, but we'll try. So I've thrown the spoilers out all the way. We need to get 250 knots as well. So you can hear the airframe protesting. It will lift the nose soon to get back to 250 knots. So let's bring that range down. So we're giving ourselves something to deal with here. So while we were busy sightseeing, we should have been descending quite sharply. I'm guessing that's downtown Copenhagen that's lighting the clouds up over there. We're right on the speed limit. This is going to lift the nose in a moment to get to 250 knots. There it goes. Up comes the nose. We lose our descent rate. I think we'll be fine actually, because we've still got 25 miles to run and the speed's falling off, but not very quickly. I mean, if I used human intervention here, we could look at the flap 1 speed limits. 255 knots. That's the never exceed speed for flaps 1, which is a bit, yeah, we could do it. We'll give it, and then we kind of crow brake. So once we're at 250 knots, we could go immediately flaps 1, which we'll try it and see what happens. We're not flying this by the textbook method at all. We're trying to see outside the window as well, aren't we, to get the pretty view of the city as we come down. If we hold the spoilers out, it doesn't matter if we're a bit late. We're not using ATC anyway. There's the airport, so we're going to go past it and then come back, remember? So we will get some time to extend. So we're almost down to 250 knots, and then the descent rate will increase again. So we're 15 miles to run until we should be at 12,000. We've got 8,000 feet to drop in a hurry. Let's see if we can do it. The aeroplane is protesting and it's got the speed brakes out full. But the height is dropping off now, so we've still got 11 miles to run until we get to the next waypoint. You can see the countdown just here. And we're dropping at 2,200 feet a minute now. We're at about the limit for the flaps, so let's go for it. So we've now got flaps and spoilers out. So it's kind of crow braking. You've got surfaces of both sides of the wing stuck out. It's not giving us any real benefit though in terms of descent rate. Oh, look, the nose is dipping. The air's getting thicker. So look at that, 2,800 feet a minute, 29, 3,000 feet a minute, and we're holding the same speed. Just. Oh, it's going to lift. Is it going to lift the nose to stop that? It's trying, isn't it? 17,000, 6 miles to run, maybe 5.5. We're not going to get down to 12, but it doesn't really matter. It just gave us something fun to do, didn't it, on the way? Through my own ineptitude, we ended up descending late. We're only a few thousand feet higher than we should be. The sounds are fantastic, aren't they? Passengers must be wondering what on earth is going on. So yeah, we're going to be about 2,500 feet higher than we should be on the way through, which isn't a disaster. Catching up with the profile slowly. It's 14.5. We'll see the profile come back towards us in a moment. So while this is happening, if we scoot across to the other side of the co-pilot, can we see? No, the airport's blanketed in cloud, isn't it? Can't see it. Oh well. So remember, when we come past this waypoint, we are going to extend and then turn right towards X star, and then we'll be good for descent in towards landing. So that's what I was saying. Even though we're a little bit high, we've got plenty of time to extend before we turn back. Okay, rolling in, about to come down through 10,000 feet, so we'll go and turn on the landing lights. This night lighting in the sim is fantastic, isn't it now? Okay, let's bring the range down again to 20 miles now. We'll switch the landing system on as well, which will give us the ILS on the primary flight display. We'll go and switch the TCAS over to TA only mode, so other aeroplanes will not affect us. And we are still chasing the profile down. Here it comes. So we can come off the spoilers. We've caught up. I'd just like to apologise for the passengers, or to the passengers for scaring them to death. And we can be sightseers again. So Kastrup is over to our right. We're just going, oh actually no, it's over there, look. In that really thick dark cloud. We are continuing to descend. So transition altitude was 5,000 feet in this area, so we don't need to change just yet, but we will go and double check. So 1012 was the local barometric pressure. So this is the point, once we get past a beggy, we can turn right. So we'll go vectors, or go selected heading mode at that point. So the airspeed's going to drop to 220 knots at a beggy as well. You can see there's just poking out of the cloud there, look, is one of the runways. And we're turning into this pea soup. Wonderful. So we're not going to see much for a couple of minutes as we descend through this. There we go, we're in the murk now, so we have our wonderful modern systems to guide us down. Okay, let's bring this down to 10 miles range now. We'll clean up the display by turning off the terrain mode. So airspeed's just dropped, look, to go to 220, so we'll help it do that by throwing the spoilers out. And we'll also go and reference this chart on the far right over here. So flaps 2, we want 196, 195 knots, so we can't go flaps 2 just yet. So we're now flying away from the airfield, but remember, we have no flight plan out here to come back. There's a big discontinuity, and that's by design, because in the real world you'd continue on this heading until air traffic services turn you around. Again, we've just come through 5,000 feet, look, so this is the point we go and change. So was it 102, well, 1012. I'm rubbish at doing this with the head tracking switched on. Okay. So we're basically heading mode at the moment. So selected heading, yeah. So we pull this and we're going the direction we're going, and we're going to do a right turn any moment. So we're coming up to 4,300 feet. We'll go selected speed mode as well now. So we'll come down to 180 knots. And we're going to start this right turn. Let me turn the head tracking off and set us up slightly. So if you look on the map, whoops, butterfingers there. I'm just going to show you this where we are. So we're going to give ourselves a bit of a delta to turn back towards X-tar. Now we could do it on here just by going direct X-tar. Okay, so if we do that, we just select it. Speed error. Interesting. And then go flight plan. Is it going to let us do that? Oh, can we not do it here as well? Interesting. Let's clear that message out. Flight plan. X-star. Oh, maybe it won't. I'm not going to play around with this all day long, so we should just be able to say X-star and confirm it, but it's not got any way of confirming it unless we just select it again. Maybe, yeah, this is slightly different than some of the others. So it's doing it now, look. So we're just getting slow enough to go for the next flaps setting, which we are now slow enough for. And the landing lights have this horrible habit of just lighting up the mist. So this is why it's interesting to see what they've done with this. So as I said, we've given ourselves a long run in. So the aeroplane will come in, which is really handy for us because then we get to see the CDI come in as we near the localizer. But as I said, the main thing today is for us to actually get to see the scenery as we do this. So if you look down here, we've got all the speeds from X-Star. It wanted us to be at 220, but I wanted a sharper turn. And so it will manage speed itself. If we went back to managed mode, it will speed itself back up. You can see the airport out there. So if we go back to managed speed mode, so push it towards the aeroplane, look, it's going to take it faster, so we're going to have to raise the flaps. And yeah, I don't want it to do that. I want it to give us some time. So I'm going to do it on manual because it gives us time to play with views and have a look around rather than letting it program it, you know, fly it in completely pre-programmed. We'll actually have a play with the aeroplane. So we're slow enough to go and put the gear down, which allows us to have ourselves lit up like a Christmas tree, which is always quite cool. So then the nose light's on as well. We get to see this for a little while. So there's the airfield. Okay, so we want to be above 2,000, and so we'll go for 2,500 feet and do an open descent to get there. So it will chop the speed. If we go and put this on landing system now, we'll get the HSI and the CDI will correspond with the diamonds on the edge of the attitude indicator. It's a shame, I should have gone and put a hold in over Copenhagen, shouldn't I, to see it at night, because the airport's a little way out of the city. So we're down to 2,500 feet. We can start bringing the speed down and the flaps. So what's the flaps 3 speed? 185 knots, which we've already gone through. There we go, full flaps. So we've got a 40 knot crosswind, which is why we are crabbing at a crazy angle for that runway. Whoa, it's windy. So I'm inclined to land this myself just for the fun of doing it. So let's straighten the view out and sit ourselves up a little bit. Take the autopilot off. Have to press the red button for that to work. I'll let the auto throttle do its thing. Take us down to 150 knots. So we just keep an eye on this, and we'll keep the crab angle appropriate, and we'll maybe climb it a little bit into the glide slope. So look, we're going into the cloud and losing sight of the runway, but it really doesn't matter because we've got the instruments. And I've got gear down. Why have we got a warning? I've seen this happen once before and I can't remember why. So gear is... I'm just checking switch positions. There we go. It was just a warning that we hadn't configured the aircraft fully. So look at that wind pushing us sideways. So we are going to be at a crazy crab angle. So we're pretty much on glide slope. We're just bringing the localizer back into the middle. Hopefully as we get closer to the ground clutter will get rid of some of the side, or the strength of the wind. So we may have to kick the nose round really hard at the last moment with the rudder. So we're a little bit high at the moment. Why are we getting warnings? It's fully configured. I don't know why we're getting that warning. Gear is down, flaps are down. I think it's a, I think it's a bug in the aeroplane. That should have lit up, or we should have had NICAM. I've seen that before, where you get the audible warning and you have to go and press this blank button to get rid of it, which is normally the the warning cancellation button. But there was no sign of a warning on the ECAM. So the wind is dying off, look, it's down to 35 knots, it's swinging around towards our nose as well, which is helping us enormously. So we're back onto the glide slope. We've got 2 reds, 2 whites on the pappies by the look of it. And the crosswind is swinging around as we get over towards the land. I wonder what this is down here. It's a container ship, isn't it? Just in line with the flight path. That's its bridge lights that we can see. Or is it a container or some sort of coaster or tanker? Yeah, that wind is really pivoting round and dying off. Look, down to 15 knots wind now. We're a bit low. 500. Just correcting for that. So ready on the throttles to pull them back to idle. And the wind is right on our nose now. Look, it's swung completely around as we go over the land.
Minimum 200. 100. 50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
And we're down. So full reverses. And go for the wheel brakes as well. Off the reverses. And take the high speed exit. And flaps up. So that was interesting, wasn't it? The wind was really quite fierce out over the bay, or over the channel I should say, and then as we got closer to the land it slowly dissipated and turned more towards our nose. Look at the night lights, aren't they fantastic? Whoa, we nearly didn't make that turn. We're still not going to make it. It takes a bit to turn a 300-ton airplane, doesn't it? Okay, roll in towards the terminals, go and park the airplane up. Obviously we haven't got set intentions running this evening, so we're not going to get specific instruction, which is a bit of a shame. But okay, so while we're off the runway, let's a nice reminder to do things properly. So landing lights come off, taxi lights. And we should have had the seatbelt signs on. Just looking for the strobes, and they're on auto. Okay, that's all good. We can put the nose light. It's still on. Yeah, I'll put it back to taxi, so that's good as well. It does now look amazing though with the new night lighting. Very, very lovely. Okay, so we're going to bring it in. This is not a custom version of Kastrup, so this is straight out of the box, which is why it's lit up very strangely. And we're going to cross this runway without waiting for any clearance and hope that nothing's coming. And then we'll turn left here and then into the gate. Actually no, we'll go the left side here. Oh yeah, go in between some of this other traffic that's already here. Find a gate with nothing at it. Yeah, it's a shame, isn't it, with the stock airports are often overly illuminated like this. Okay, parking brake on, back inside. So there's a few things we can do quite easily here to make our life easy. We go to ground equipment and we can request the chocks and request the GPU. Then overhead we can attach the GPU to the airplane, which is here. Which then means we can go and shut the engines down. So to do that we can just pull them and the relays will switch over automatically to using the external power. And then overhead we can go and switch off the fuel pumps. We can turn ADIRs off, and then we can go and turn the cruise supply back off, turn some of these lights off. Now beacon light off, now the engines are off. Strobes off completely. Taxi light off. I'm going to leave those as they are. We can turn the emergency exit lights off, not to on. What else do we need to do? I'm just having a quick scan around. Not too much actually. So down in the cockpit, obviously the master warnings come on because we've just lost power. So if we want to go cold and dark at this point, we can just go and remove the external power from the aeroplane, and as soon as we turn the batteries off, we are dark. And we didn't even let any passengers off. But there we go. So the real reason tonight for doing this was to look at the updated A340 and to have a look at this wonderful scenery. So just before we leave then, if we press Shift and X, and then, can I remember how to do this? We're going to go and look at downtown Copenhagen at night. So can we speed up the drone camera easily? I'm not sure that we can. Yeah, this might take far too long because we can only go the same speed as a car. So maybe we do this another time. But it's just lovely, isn't it, to see what they've done with the night lighting. So I'm just moving this with the drone camera. Yeah, it's such a misty night. The higher I go, obviously, we're losing visibility. So there we go. There's the airport. You can see all this spinny lights everywhere. It's cool, though. Right, I'm going to leave it there. Hope you've enjoyed that today. Let's go back to the aeroplane, to our cold and dark aeroplane. And I'll see you again soon. Take care.